to Focus English, dear viewers, and it's every Tuesday at 6 p.m. As you know, in this Focus English, there is a guest segment, Listen, News, and Health Tips with Mr. Asusakara. And now in this Focus English, it is a special one, yes, because we are going to talk about Martin Luther King Day. Yes, so in order to well understand the history and the struggles of this brave man, today with Mrs. Erin Sutherland. She is the cultural attaché of the United States Embassy in Mali here. And I say, welcome to Focus English on AMSET TV. But before to start this question, let us watch one of the speech of Dr. Martin Luther King named I Have a Dream. Let us watch that.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Okay, excellent. That was some parts, just a few parts of his speech, I Have a Dream. Now, who is Martin Luther King, Mrs. Erin Sutherland?
Well, first of all, Candia, thank you so much for having me on your program and the opportunity to speak with your viewers here today. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for being here and share your ideas with us about Martin Luther King.
Absolutely, and it's a fantastic day to be here and talk about one of the United States' most important leaders, one of our most important legacy builders, and that is Martin Luther King. So as you know, this past Monday, the United States celebrated the federal holiday in honor of Martin Luther King that aligns with his birthday. And the reason why he is so beloved and so honored in our country is because of his visionary leadership in calling the United States to hold up to its values that are written in the Constitution, that are written in the Declaration of Independence, that say that all people are created equal and should have the same opportunities. And he not only, as President Biden said, he was not only a dreamer, he was a doer. So in addition to giving speeches about the dream that he had for America, he did the work to creating a better, more equal, more just American society.
Very good. Thank you very much for this explanation. And my next question is now, why is he so famous many years after his death?
Yes, he is so famous after his death because his message resonates across cultures. It is a message that all people can be drawn to, a message of equality, a message of social justice. Okay. And that is the reason why not only in the United States, but around the world, people are inspired by his activism and his organizing for nonviolent solutions to some of society's most important questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear viewers, I remind you that today I'm with Mrs. Erin Sutherland. She is the cultural attaché of the United States Embassy in Mali here, and today we are discussing about Martin Luther King because last Monday, January 17th, was his day. And now, Mrs. Sutherland, my question is now, what did he particularly do to improve the living condition of the African Americans?
Well, even in his short life, he accomplished so much. And there are three main things I would say that he accomplished for African Americans.
Okay.
The first is an end to segregation. Through the work with the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama, as well as the passage of the Civil Rights Act, he helped to craft the bill and also push lawmakers to end segregation at the federal level. Second of all, he worked to make sure that every American had the right to vote through the passage of the Voting Rights Act. And that work continues today, and America is still a work in progress, and so that work continues today, but he was a leader in that domain. And the third thing that he worked on up until his death was creating an America where everyone would have a standard of living that they could support themselves. And so for that reason, he worked to eradicate poverty and to empower people, no matter the color of their skin, to be able to have a decent life in the United States.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Now, why is he so famous in Africa? Could you tell us something about that?
Absolutely.
Yes, go ahead.
Martin Luther King was actually inspired by some of the work, the independence movements in Africa in the 1950s. In fact, in 1957, he visited Ghana for the independence celebration and was so very inspired by the nonviolent protests and work of those activists that it inspired his work back in the United States. And so for Martin Luther King, it's really not about one country, it's about universal human rights. And I think that's why he's so famous in Africa.
Oh, that's great. And we will continue to celebrate that day every January 17th here. This is why we are doing this special also show in Focus English on AMSET TV today with Mrs. Erin Sutherland, the cultural attaché of the United States in Embassy in Mali here today. Now, Mrs. Sutherland, at the beginning of this show, we watched one of his speech, I Have a Dream. Please, could you summarize this speech for us?
Yes. Well, Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream is rooted in the American dream, in the American dream of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, President Biden has said that we as a country have never really lived up to those ideals that were written in our Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. And so the dream that Martin Luther King spoke of and worked for would be one where all people are equal and are treated equally. And as I said, that's still a work in progress, and it is an inspiration for me and for my government to continue to create that dream.
Okay, that's fine. And now, last Monday was Martin Luther King Day here. Could you tell us what did USA Embassy in Mali here in order to celebrate that day?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very proud of the work that the U.S. Embassy did in honor of Martin Luther King. We worked with a grant partner here in Bamako, Bamako Art Gallery. Okay. And through that collaboration, the Bamako Art Gallery is helping to revitalize a street here in Bamako that is named after Martin Luther King. And so for the past several weeks, they have been creating murals, statues, plazas. But the thing that I think is most important about this work is that it involves the community. And Martin Luther King was someone who wanted to involve everyone in creating a better society. And so through the work with the Bamako Art Gallery, they were able to work with local art students and famous Malian artists, as well as other community leaders. Because in the United States, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is actually a day of community service, where people can participate in bettering their community. And it was so wonderful to see that day of community service here in Mali as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for all those information, Mrs. Erin Sutherland. Now, according to you, what inspiration can current leaders can draw through his struggles here in order to make the world a peaceful place?
There are so many things that people can take from Martin Luther King's life. Okay. Two main ones would be the principles of social justice, okay, in guaranteeing and working for a society that is equal and in the best interests of everyone, and also the work of nonviolence. And even though there were many people during his lifetime who didn't agree with his philosophy of nonviolence, Martin Luther King's message and tactics have stood the test of time, because it is through nonviolence that so many other groups and movements have been inspired to create positive change in the world.
Okay, thank you very much. This question is really interesting, but we're at the end. Now, what is your message today on the set of Focus English on AMSET TV to the Americans and the African Americans?
Well, my first message would just be one of thanks. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak about a true American hero, Martin Luther King, in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
It's a pleasure.
And the message that I would say, I would just echo the words of President Biden in his speech this past week about Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He said, "It's not enough just to honor Martin Luther King, but we must be committed to doing the work that he inspires us all to do." And so I, encourage us all to think about how we can work for creating positive change in our community, whether it's through voting rights in the United States or whatever that looks like in your community.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Erin Sutherland, for being here and share your ideas with us about Dr. Martin Luther King. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, the pleasure is mine.
Okay, dear viewers, that's all for this guest segment, in which today we talked about Martin Luther King, because his day was last Monday, January 17th, and therefore well talked about this brave man. I was today with Mrs. Erin Sutherland. She is the cultural attaché of the United States Embassy in Mali here. But stay here, we're going to talk about the lesson. Comment aussi nous voilà dans la rubrique leçon de cette émission Focus English sur M7 Télévision. Je vous rappelle que c'est chaque mardi à partir de 18h. Aujourd'hui, comme leçon du jour, nous allons voir les multiples sens du verbe to get. Voilà. Après obtenir, get a d'autres sens. Donc nous allons voir ces autres sens aujourd'hui. D'abord, comme vous le savez, je viens de dire, get veut dire to obtain, qui veut dire obtenir. Je donne un exemple. She got her diploma in 2008. She got her diploma in 2008. Elle a obtenu son diplôme en 2008. D'accord? Et après ça, get veut dire to bring. To bring qui veut dire apporter. Je donne un exemple. Get me glasses, my son. Get me glasses, my son. Apporte-moi des verres, mon fils. Apporte-moi des verres, mon fils. D'accord? Get veut dire également to have. Get veut dire to have. Have qui veut dire en français avoir. J'ai un exemple. Ali got a motorbike last week. Ali got a motorbike last week. Ali a eu une moto la semaine dernière. Ali a eu une moto la semaine dernière. To get veut dire également to receive. To receive, qui veut dire recevoir. D'accord? Je donne un exemple. I got a message this morning. I got a message this morning. J'ai reçu un message ce matin. J'ai reçu un message ce matin. Got veut dire également to buy. To buy, qui veut dire acheter. My uncle got me a new computer. My uncle got me a new computer. Mon oncle m'a acheté un nouvel ordinateur. Mon oncle m'a acheté un nouvel ordinateur. Got veut dire également le verbe to get, ça veut dire également to find. To find, ça veut dire trouver. Her husband got her a new job in BMS. Her husband got her a new job in BMS. Oui, son mari lui a trouvé un emploi à BMS. D'accord? Voilà un peu quelques sens voilà, du verbe to get. Et il y en a d'autres, nous allons voir ça, d'autres sens au get plus d'autres prépositions qui donnent d'autres sens. Nous allons les voir dans les jours à venir dans votre émission Focus English. Et voilà, mais restez toujours ici, vous aurez tout à l'heure Monsieur Assosaga.
So, for Martin Luther King, through voting rights in the United States.
J'ai un exemple. Ali got a motorbike last week. Ali got a motorbike last week. Ali a eu une moto la semaine dernière. Ali a eu une moto la semaine dernière. To get veut dire également to receive. To receive, qui veut dire recevoir. D'accord? Je donne un exemple. I got a message this morning. I got a message this morning. J'ai reçu un message ce matin. J'ai reçu un message ce matin. Got veut dire également to buy. To buy, qui veut dire acheter. My uncle got me a new computer. My uncle got me a new computer. Mon oncle m'a acheté un nouvel ordinateur. Mon oncle m'a acheté un nouvel ordinateur. Got veut dire également le verbe to get, ça veut dire également to find. To find, ça veut dire trouver. Her husband got her a new job in BMS. Her husband got her a new job in BMS. Oui, son mari lui a trouvé un emploi à BMS. D'accord? Voilà un peu quelques sens voilà, du verbe to get. Et il y en a d'autres, nous allons voir ça, d'autres sens au get plus d'autres prépositions qui donnent d'autres sens. Nous allons les voir dans les jours à venir dans votre émission Focus English. Et voilà, mais restez toujours ici, vous aurez tout à l'heure Monsieur Assousagara pour les news et health tips. À tout à l'heure. as I told you, now let's talk about news with Mr. Asu Sagara. Good evening, Asu.
Yes, hello, Kanja. How are you?
I'm fine, you?
I'm very fine today.
So, what are the news today?
January 17th, 2022 was Dr. Martin Luther King's Day. At that occasion, the chairwoman of Malian Association of Teachers of English, made Mrs. Susoko Fatmata Dameli, organized a school competition at Groupe Scolaire Mamadou Konaté in Bamako. The competition gathered 42 students, including 26 girls from different lycées through the town of Bamako. The winner of the competition was Kadjatou Tangara from Lycée El Bada. The competition was followed by a conference about Dr. Martin Luther King's life, led by Dr. Sori Doumbia. The celebration of that day was supported by the U.S. Embassy. Here we talk about the sanction of ECOWAS countries or ECOWAS states against Malian states. The ECOWAS heads of the states are angry against the ruling military junta after a coup d'etat on August 2020. The military regime is trying to extend the duration of the transition. This attempt of the junta pushes the ECOWAS heads of states to impose the economic and the financial sanction against the Malian states as means of pressure. These measures of sanction are quite rash and even unbearable for the Malian states. That's why a very large march was organized on Friday the 14th of January to protest against the measures of sanction imposed by the ECOWAS countries. And after that, we talk about the death of our former President, Mr. Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. On Sunday, January the 16th of 2022, we unfortunately learned of the death of our former President, Mr. Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, also called Ibika. Passed away. He died at his own house in Sebenikoro, Mali, Bamako, Mali. This sudden death of the former president comes only 18 months after a coup d'etat perpetrated against him by the current ruling junta. The funeral and the burial ceremony is scheduled for Friday, January 21st. Of 2022 in Bamako, like his predecessors. Mr. Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta is also entitled to a national funeral. May his soul rest in peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mr. Asu Sagara. And that's all, dear viewers for AMSET TV, for this Focus English on AMSET TV, a special one, as you can notice from the beginning to here now. Thank you very much, and see you next Tuesday on AMSET TV for another Focus English. Goodbye and take care.
M7 TV, les 7 jours qui font les Mali.